Have you ever struggled with the weight of resentment and the inability to forgive? In a world where conflicts and misunderstandings are inevitable, the ancient wisdom of Stoicism offers profound insights on the power of forgiveness. Welcome to our video, where we will explore 10 transformative Stoic lessons that will guide you on the path to embracing forgiveness. These timeless principles, rooted in the teachings of great philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, will help you cultivate inner peace, strengthen your relationships, and lead a more fulfilling life. Thank you all for watching and welcome to our Stoic journey. Number 13. Remember that forgiveness is a process. The Stoics understood that healing from deep wounds and letting go of resentment is not an overnight endeavor. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to sit with discomfort. There may be days when you feel you've made great strides, followed by others where the hurt feels as raw as ever. This is a normal part of the process, not a sign of failure. Think of forgiveness as a skill you're practicing, a muscle you're strengthening over time. Just as you wouldn't expect to master a new instrument or language in a single session, you can't demand instant mastery over your emotions. It takes repetition, perseverance, and a lot of self-grace. One helpful Stoic perspective is to view forgiveness as a daily choice, a moment-to-moment decision to release the grip of anger and turn towards healing. It's not about reaching a final destination where you'll never feel hurt or resentment again, but rather about consistently choosing the path of peace and letting go. Seneca wisely advised, "Every night before going to sleep, we must ask ourselves, what weakness did I overcome today? What virtue did I acquire?" In the context of forgiveness, we might ask, how did I practice letting go today? What grudge did I release, even if just a little bit? How did I choose compassion over resentment? Celebrate the small victories, the incremental shifts in your heart and mind. Maybe today you caught yourself ruminating on the hurt and gently redirected your thoughts. Maybe you found a moment of empathy for the person who wronged you, recognizing their own struggles and imperfections. These are the building blocks of forgiveness, the daily choices that gradually lead to freedom. Be patient with yourself in this process. Forgiveness is not about perfection, but about the willingness to keep showing up. Keep practicing, keep softening your heart. Some days will be easier than others, and that's okay. Trust that each sincere effort is planting seeds of healing that will bloom in their own time. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. This daily reaffirmation of shared humanity and understanding can be a powerful support on the forgiveness journey. So embrace the process of forgiveness, knowing that it's a path of courage, resilience, and profound personal growth. Be gentle with yourself, celebrate the small victories, and trust in the healing power of time and practice. As you consistently choose forgiveness, you'll find yourself gradually unburdened, more at peace, and more deeply connected to your own innate wisdom and compassion. Number 12. Embrace gratitude. When we're stuck in resentment, it's hard to see beyond the negativity. But the Stoics recognize that gratitude is a powerful antidote. By intentionally focusing on the good in our lives, we shift our perspective and open our hearts to forgiveness. Gratitude helps us recognize the abundance in our lives, reframe our challenges, and soften our hearts towards others. When we're connected to a sense of thankfulness, it's harder to hold on to bitterness. We start to see the humanity in others and the pettiness of holding on to grievances. As Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Make gratitude a daily practice. Keep a journal. Express appreciation to others and pause to connect with thankfulness for the gift of life itself. As you cultivate gratitude, forgiveness becomes more natural. You'll be more inclined to let go, move forward, and embrace the richness of the present moment. As Marcus Aurelius put it, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Let gratitude guide you on the path to forgiveness and inner peace. Number 11. Forgive for your own sake. Holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It corrodes our inner peace, dampens our joy, and keeps us chained to the past. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca pointedly remarked, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. When we forgive, we're not necessarily condoning the hurtful behavior or welcoming the person back into our lives. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation or putting ourselves in harm's way. Rather, it's a conscious decision to release the heavy burden of grievances and reclaim our own emotional equilibrium. Think of it this way. When someone wrongs you, they create an initial wound, but by harboring resentment, you're allowing that wound to fester, to grow more painful and infect other areas of your life. Forgiveness is the salve you apply to promote healing, to stop the hurt from spreading further. It's a recognition that your well-being and happiness are too valuable to be contingent on the actions of others. You forgive so that you can move forward unburdened, so that you can focus your energy on creating the life you want, not dwelling on the hurts of the past. As Marcus Aurelius counseled, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Forgiveness is the ultimate victory because it frees you from the tyranny of anger and bitterness. It allows you to rise above the fray and find peace within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. So embrace forgiveness for your own sake. Recognize that it's an act of self-care, a gift you give yourself. It doesn't excuse wrong behavior, but it liberates you from the corrosive effects of resentment. Forgive so that you can heal, grow, and live with a lighter, more peaceful heart. As the Stoics understood, inner tranquility is the true mark of a life well lived. Number 10. Let go of expectations. Let go of expectations. When we feel wronged, it's natural to want the other person to apologize, make amends, and validate our feelings. We might fantasize about them coming to us remorsefully, acknowledging the hurt they caused and pleading for our forgiveness. But here's the hard truth. Those expectations often lead to disappointment and bitterness, not healing and peace. The Stoics understood that clinging to specific expectations is a recipe for suffering. Why? Because we can't control other people's actions or reactions. They may apologize profusely, or they may not apologize at all. They may try to make things right, or they may never change their behavior. If our ability to forgive and move forward is contingent on them meeting our expectations, we're giving away our power and agency. Instead, the Stoic path is to release those expectations and focus on what is within our control, our own thoughts, attitudes, and choices. We forgive, not because the other person deserves it or has earned it, but because we deserve peace and freedom. Forgiveness, in this light, is a gift we give ourselves. This doesn't mean condoning hurtful actions or staying in harmful situations. It simply means detaching our well-being from the choices of others. We can have preferences for how we'd like them to respond, but not demands. We can communicate our feelings and boundaries, but not force someone else to change. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own. So embrace forgiveness by letting go of expectations. Free yourself from the exhausting cycle of wishing others would behave differently. Accept that their journey is their own, just as your journey is yours. Focus your energy on what you can control, your own healing, growth, and inner peace. In the end, that's what truly matters. Number 9. Practice self-compassion. One of the most important aspects of forgiveness is learning to extend that same compassion and understanding to ourselves. As humans, we are imperfect beings who inevitably make mistakes, experience failures, and have regrets. It's easy to be our own harshest critics, dwelling on our shortcomings and berating ourselves mercilessly. But the Stoics wisely recognize that such self-judgment is counterproductive. Beating yourself up doesn't change the past. It only makes you feel worse in the present. Instead, we must strive to be kind, patient, and forgiving with ourselves, just as we would with a dear friend who has stumbled. Acknowledge your humanness. You are a work in progress, learning and growing through both your triumphs and your missteps. Give yourself permission to be imperfect. When you catch your inner dialogue veering into harsh self-criticism, pause and consciously reframe those thoughts into ones of self-compassion and understanding. Remind yourself, I am doing the best I can with what I know at this time. My worth is not defined by my mistakes. I choose to be gentle with myself as I learn and improve. With self-forgiveness and compassion, you create an internal environment of acceptance and emotional resilience. You bounce back quicker from challenges and face new ones with greater confidence and peace of mind. So embrace self-compassion. Be your own best friend and ally. Extend to yourself the same grace, empathy, and forgiveness you would give to others you care about. In doing so, you'll find the space to truly grow and thrive, unhindered by a heavy burden of regret and self-reproach. As Seneca encouraged, be gentle with yourself, learn to forgive yourself, for it is only through this forgiveness that you may truly live. Number 8, communicate if necessary. When expressing your feelings, use I statements and own your experiences. For example, I felt deeply hurt and betrayed when I found out about your actions. I value honesty and trust in our relationship, and I'm struggling to understand what happened. By communicating in this way, you create a space for open and honest dialogue without putting the other person on the defensive. Remember, the goal of communication in the context of forgiveness is not necessarily to change the other person or force them to apologize. Instead, focus on what is within your power, your own thoughts, feelings, and actions. Through calm and assertive communication, you can express your truth, set boundaries, and create the conditions for healing and understanding. However, the Stoics also recognize that there may be times when direct communication is not possible or advisable, such as when there is a risk of further harm or abuse. Epictetus teaches, in life our first job is this, to divide and distinguish things into two categories. Externals I cannot control, but the choices I make with regard to them I do control. Recognize what is within your control, and make wise decisions about when and how to communicate. As you navigate the path of forgiveness, consider whether communication is necessary and appropriate. If so, reflect on your intentions, choose your words carefully, and approach the conversation with openness and compassion. Remember that while you cannot control the outcome, you can always control your own thoughts, feelings, and actions, using them as a powerful tool for healing and growth. Number 7, learn from the experience. Learn from the experience. One of the most transformative aspects of Stoic philosophy is its emphasis on personal growth and wisdom. When it comes to embracing forgiveness, the Stoics encourage us to view challenging situations, including those where we've been hurt or wronged, as valuable opportunities for learning and self-improvement. Rather than simply moving past the painful experience, they urge us to reflect deeply on what we can take away from it and how we can use it to become better versions of ourselves. Epictetus, one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, teaches, it's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters. This powerful statement reminds us that while we may not have control over the actions of others or the circumstances we find ourselves in, we always have a choice in how we respond. By choosing to approach hurtful situations with a growth mindset, we can transform even the most difficult experiences into catalysts for positive change. Imagine a scenario where a close friend has betrayed your trust, leaving you feeling hurt and angry. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to get caught up in the pain and the desire for retribution. However, the Stoics would encourage you to take a step back and ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? How can I use this situation to cultivate greater wisdom, resilience, and compassion? Perhaps the betrayal has revealed a pattern in your relationships where you've struggled with setting healthy boundaries or communicating your needs effectively. Maybe it has highlighted areas where you need to work on building self-esteem and self-respect. By honestly examining the situation and your role in it, you can gain valuable insights into yourself and identify opportunities for personal growth. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of reframing challenges as chances to practice virtue and strengthen our character. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, writes in his Meditations, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacles we face, including the pain of being wronged, can actually serve as stepping stones towards becoming our best selves. In the case of forgiveness, learning from the experience might involve cultivating qualities such as empathy, patience, and understanding. It may require you to develop greater emotional intelligence and the ability to communicate effectively in difficult situations. By viewing the hurtful event as a chance to practice these virtues, you shift your focus from the pain of the past to the potential for growth in the present. It's important to note that learning from the experience doesn't mean condoning or excusing hurtful behavior. The Stoics are clear that we should hold others accountable for their actions and set appropriate boundaries. However, they also recognize that dwelling on blame and resentment only serves to harm ourselves. By choosing to learn and grow from the situation, we take back our power and refuse to let the actions of others define us. In practice, learning from the experience of being wronged involves a combination of self-reflection, curiosity, and a willingness to step outside our comfort zone. It may require seeking guidance from trusted mentors, engaging in therapy or counseling, or exploring new perspectives through reading and learning. The key is to approach the process with an open mind and a commitment to personal growth. As you navigate the path of forgiveness, take time to reflect on the lessons the experience has offered you. Ask yourself questions such as, what have I learned about myself and my relationships through this challenging situation? How can I use this knowledge to become a wiser, more compassionate, and more resilient person? What steps can I take to cultivate the virtues that will help me navigate future challenges with grace and strength? By embracing the Stoic lesson of learning from the experience, you transform even the most painful situations into opportunities for profound personal growth. You develop a greater understanding of yourself and others, cultivate wisdom and resilience, and become better equipped to handle life's inevitable challenges. Through this process, forgiveness becomes not just an act of letting go, but a powerful catalyst for positive transformation and a life well lived. Number 6, focus on the present. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with the weight of past resentments. Each time you dwell on the hurtful event, you add another rock to the backpack. The Stoics encourage us to set down that backpack and embrace the freedom of the present. This doesn't mean ignoring the pain we've experienced. It's important to acknowledge and process our emotions. But once we've given ourselves time to heal, the Stoics urge us to shift our focus to the present and the positive aspects of our lives. Marcus Aurelius writes, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Cultivating gratitude for the simple joys and blessings in our lives diminishes the power of past hurts and creates a more resilient mindset. To focus on the present, practice mindfulness. When caught up in thoughts of the past, gently redirect your attention to the here and now. Engage your senses, take deep breaths, and seek out positive experiences and connections. Remember, focusing on the present doesn't mean ignoring lessons from the past or aspirations for the future. The Stoics encourage us to learn from our experiences and use them for growth and wisdom. However, they caution against getting lost in rumination or regret. By embracing the Stoic lesson of focusing on the present, we cultivate inner peace and resilience. We learn to find joy and contentment in the moment, freeing ourselves from the chains of resentment and bitterness. So when dwelling on a hurtful event from the past, take a deep breath, ground yourself in the present, and choose to focus on the positive aspects of your life. By doing so, you'll discover the transformative power of forgiveness and the joy of living fully in the here and now. Number 5, release the need for revenge. The Stoics warn us that seeking revenge only prolongs our suffering and keeps us trapped in negativity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer. By focusing on revenge, we allow the person who hurt us to continue holding power over our emotions and actions. Imagine someone who has deeply betrayed your trust. The desire for revenge can feel overwhelming, but ask yourself, will seeking revenge truly heal my wounds and bring me lasting happiness? The Stoics teach us that true strength lies in letting go of the need for revenge. Epictetus says, "No one is ever made better by harm." By releasing the desire to get even, we free ourselves from the emotional chains that bind us to the person who wronged us. This doesn't mean forgetting the harm done or excusing the behavior. We can acknowledge the pain and hold people accountable without allowing revenge to consume us. Instead, focus on cultivating inner peace and resilience. Seneca advises, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." By responding with compassion, understanding, and forgiveness, we demonstrate our own strength of character. Releasing the need for revenge is a gradual process. When thoughts of revenge arise, acknowledge them without judgment, and redirect your focus to constructive pursuits. Invest in your own well-being, and you'll diminish the power of revenge. Remember, holding on to revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. By embracing the Stoic lesson of releasing this need, you embark on a path of true forgiveness, inner peace, and personal liberation. Rise above the pain of the past and create a future defined by your own strength, resilience, and compassion. Number 4. Empathize with the other person. Empathize with the other person. Empathy is a powerful tool in the Stoic path to forgiveness. When someone wrongs us, it's easy to get trapped in our own pain and anger. But the Stoics encourage us to step into the other person's shoes and try to understand their perspective, even if we don't agree with their actions. Empathy is about humanizing the person who hurt us, recognizing the underlying factors that may have contributed to their behavior. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to enter, so far as possible, into the mind of the speaker. By understanding their point of view, we open the door to compassion and forgiveness. Consider someone who has deeply hurt you. It's natural to feel betrayed and angry, but take a moment to reflect on what might be driving their behavior: insecurities, personal struggles, or fears. Empathizing with their challenges allows us to see them as a flawed human being, not just a source of pain. Empathy doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior. It's still crucial to set boundaries and hold people accountable. But by understanding their perspective, we can approach the situation with wisdom and compassion. Seneca says, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness." Empathy reveals the opportunity for kindness and understanding, even in the face of hurtful actions. It enables us to respond with grace and patience. Practicing empathy can be challenging when we feel deeply hurt. It requires stepping outside our own pain to see the situation from a different angle. But by doing so, we cultivate emotional intelligence, resilience, and the ability to navigate difficult situations with clarity and compassion. The next time someone hurts you, ask yourself, what might be going on in their life that contributed to their actions? By making an effort to understand their perspective, you open the door to forgiveness and personal growth. Remember, empathy is not about condoning hurtful behavior. It's about recognizing shared humanity and approaching challenges with wisdom and compassion. As you cultivate empathy, forgiveness becomes a natural extension of your understanding, allowing you to release anger and resentment and move forward with greater peace and resilience. Number 3, separate the person from the action. The Stoics offer a valuable insight when it comes to forgiveness: the importance of separating the person from their actions. It's tempting to reduce someone to their hurtful deeds and label them as inherently bad. But the reality is that people are complex individuals capable of both good and bad behaviors. Marcus Aurelius, in his renowned work Meditations, encourages us to examine our own faults before criticizing others. Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize? This introspective approach promotes empathy and understanding, reminding us of our own imperfections and the universality of human error. It's crucial to recognize that a person's hurtful actions do not necessarily represent their entire character. They may be acting out of fear, ignorance, or unresolved pain. We cannot always see the internal struggles someone is facing. By separating the person from their actions, we create space for compassion and the possibility of forgiveness. Consider a friend who has deeply hurt you. While it's understandable to experience anger and resentment, take a moment to reflect on the positive aspects of your relationship, the shared moments of joy, laughter, and the admirable qualities you've witnessed in them. These aspects of their character remain, even in the face of their mistake. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, asserts that all cruelty springs from weakness. Recognizing that hurtful actions often stem from a place of personal pain or insecurity allows us to separate the person from their behavior. We can acknowledge their struggles without condoning their actions. It's important to note that separating the person from the action doesn't mean tolerating or excusing harmful behavior. Maintaining healthy boundaries and holding others accountable for their actions is necessary. However, by distinguishing the individual from their wrongdoing, we open the door to understanding, growth, and potential reconciliation. By focusing on the humanity behind the hurtful actions, we can cultivate forgiveness. We acknowledge that others, like ourselves, are imperfect and capable of change and redemption. In doing so, we release ourselves from the burdens of anger and resentment, enabling us to move forward with greater inner peace and compassion. Number 2, acknowledge your emotions. Before diving into forgiveness, the Stoics remind us to first acknowledge and validate our emotions. Are you feeling anger, hurt, or betrayal? Don't push those feelings aside. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, says, "The first step towards wisdom is to call things by their proper name." So let's name those emotions and bring them into the light. But here's the thing. Just because we feel something doesn't mean we have to be controlled by it. Epictetus, another Stoic legend, tells us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So how can we process these emotions in a healthy way? Try journaling or talking to a trusted friend. Get those feelings out on paper or in conversation. It's like emotional decluttering. And remember to be kind to yourself along the way. Treat yourself with the same compassion you'd show a dear friend going through a tough time. By acknowledging and processing our emotions, we create a solid foundation for forgiveness. It's not about suppressing or avoiding. It's about understanding and healing. So take a deep breath, give yourself permission to feel, and trust the journey. As you navigate this path with self-awareness and compassion, you'll find that forgiveness becomes a source of strength and liberation. Remember, forgiveness is a process, and acknowledging your emotions is a crucial step. Be patient, be kind to yourself, and know that by facing your feelings head-on, you're already well on your way to embracing the transformative power of forgiveness. Number 1, understand that forgiveness is a choice. Forgiveness is not something that happens automatically. It's a conscious decision you make for your own well-being and peace of mind. The Stoics understood that holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness only harms the person carrying those feelings. Marcus Aurelius, a renowned Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." By choosing to forgive, you free yourself from the burden of negative emotions and allow yourself to move forward with a clear mind and heart. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each representing a grudge or a past hurt. The longer you hold on to these rocks, the more exhausted and weighed down you become. Forgiveness is like setting down that backpack and removing the rocks one by one. It may not be easy, and it may take time, but with each rock you let go of, you feel lighter, freer, and more at peace. The Stoics also recognized that forgiveness doesn't mean condoning or forgetting the wrongdoing. It's not about letting the offender off the hook or pretending that the hurt never happened. Instead, forgiveness is about acknowledging the pain, learning from the experience, and choosing to release the negative emotions that keep you trapped in the past. Epictetus, another prominent Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When someone wrongs you, you have a choice in how you respond. You can either react with anger and bitterness, allowing the offender to control your emotions, or you can choose to forgive, taking back your power and reclaiming your peace of mind. Remember, forgiveness is not weakness. It's a sign of strength and resilience. It takes courage to let go of the past and embrace a more positive future. By understanding that forgiveness is a choice, you empower yourself to break free from the cycle of anger and resentment and create a life of greater harmony and inner peace. Forgiveness is a powerful tool that can help us find inner peace and move forward in life. By applying these 10 Stoic lessons, we can learn to let go of resentment, cultivate empathy, and embrace the transformative power of forgiveness. Remember, holding on to anger and grudges only harms ourselves, while forgiveness liberates us from the burden of negative emotions. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Choose to rise above the hurt and find strength in forgiveness. It's a journey that requires practice and patience, but the rewards are immeasurable. Thank you for watching this video on Stoicism and forgiveness. If you found value in these lessons, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on personal growth and philosophy. Until next time, keep embracing the wisdom of the Stoics and the power of forgiveness in your daily life.